on, YouTube, social media world? It's your boy AnonymousBased, and I'm biggity back with a new reaction video. This time I'm here with something brand new from It's Complicated. But before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and give this video a like, share it with a couple of your friends. Make sure you follow me on all my social media sites. And if you got something specific, go ahead and drop it in that comment section. So, we are here with something brand new from It's Complicated. Shout out to you, big bro. And the name of this video is called Alpha Nerds. Rules of Modern Dating and Understanding Women. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it.
Why are male horror villains sometimes romanticized as tragic, seductive figures, while female villains are often portrayed as purely evil?
Really?
No, that's a good question. I think the males are more misunderstood. You know,
I never really thought about that.
Something about them, you know, they just have that drive just to be pure evil and don't seem to care, like, who they hurt, what they do, as long as they get what they want in the end. Because the males, there's no winning with the females. I don't understand why.
It's complicated. Oh, really?
I never thought about that.
What is the difference between a male and female nerd?
Ooh, I'm gonna, oh man, can I say whatever I want to say? I'm gonna say boobs. Because we're all nerds, but girl nerds have boobs.
Well, so today's the day. I've got my RTA mock system and Coyote appliances, and they did tell me it was. Well, the main difference is that a female nerd can actually get laid.
The girls are usually hotter and the guys.
Oh, here we go. Within the first 90 seconds of the video, we have our very first septum piercing. And guys, what do I always say about the septum piercings? Red flag, something wrong with them. Now, she's somewhat cute, but that doesn't take away from the fact that a lot of them say a bunch of nonsense when they have these septum piercings. But we'll give her a little bit of grace and see what she has to say.
Like have a physical appearance of like mom's basement.
Why are nerdy men criticized for being awkward, while nerdy women are sometimes fetishized for the same behavior?
Oh!
Nerdy men are nerds. And nerdy women are hot.
Nerd men are awkward. And
Damn! You're fun as hell!
But then I think that changes once you give them the time of day. Once they know there's an opening there, kind of like in my movie.
Why does financial success or career achievement redeem nerdy men in the dating world, but not always for nerdy women?
Well, the reason why financial success as a nerd attracts women is because women like money because they like to shop.
Women are natural attention gatherers. Men, we have to gather attention. So we have to do things to great extent. And sometimes what we do to get attention is not really aligned with us. With women, you know, sooner or later, they know we're coming for.
There's part of us that needs someone who could provide fully for a while if we have a baby. So I think in some ways, we need a guy who has money in case we are going to have a family with him.
Women would like a guy who can provide sometimes. Some women do, I think. So I think that's why that's a plus for men.
So is it really genuine attraction?
What is?
I mean, if a nerd has to kind of redeem himself with, you know, providing, is that really genuine attraction?
That's a good question. You know, who can say what goes on in people's hearts? Maybe it is sometimes, maybe it isn't. Maybe people seem like they're in love and they're not, or they seem like they're not and they are. You never know.
I mean, if they're just looking for somebody for finances, no, obviously not. But if they've got other things going for them, then I think it could be part of the attraction.
Well, if nerds have to make a lot of money in order to have more options in the dating market, aren't they really just attracting the wrong people?
I think if someone only cares about your money, then they're not the right person for you.
Is seeking revenge in the form of dating outside their league a fair or healthy goal for overcoming past rejection?
I think
Well, in a way, it's like you're fishing in a pond that's out of your league, but that's part of the attraction.
I think you should always reach above because I think we always sell ourselves short. And if you look at Revenge of the Nerds, in a way, as gorgeous as Ted McKinley was, he wasn't that great of a boyfriend. Whereas you turn to Lewis, very like a great guy, smart, also very cute and very talented in many ways.
Do cultural stereotypes unfairly associate intelligence with physical unattractiveness?
Well, as any successful brainiac nerd can attest, a good brain is good for attracting the opposite sex.
There you go.
Are intellectual interests undervalued compared to social or athletic traits in the dating world?
Yeah, they are.
Well, intellectual prowess used to be not as interesting to the opposite sex as physical prowess. But now that we've seen what happens when a nerd puts his mind to it and makes a lot of money, it fixes a lot of things.
There you go.
Why do narratives often celebrate nerds transforming themselves to fit conventional beauty standards instead of valuing them for who they are?
That's an excellent question. Yeah. Everything's totally backwards, right? You should just celebrate you for who you are.
Would that be comparable to body positivity?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like Beauty and the Beast situation. The nerd is geeky looking, and then they turn into this like hunk. But I think that they should keep them the way that they are because nerds are nerds, and nerds are amazing, and nerds are beautiful.
I think it would be comparable to body shaming, but there's some very fit nerds.
Yeah.
Does online dating level the playing field for nerds, or do traditional double standards still persist in virtual spaces?
I would say that online dating is an advantage to nerds because they can manipulate their image and fool the opposite sex.
Stop the
Catfishing.
Catfishing, yes.
I just don't love the whole online dating thing initially because of that kind of superficial thing in general, because I think it is limiting. And I think for some kinds of guys, I know guys are very visual, and I hear that, but I think for me it puts women at a little bit of a disadvantage because I think it's about, it's like about an attraction, but it's about an attraction to the person because hopefully you're going to do more than just go to bed with them.
Why do nerdy interests need to be justified as cool to be accepted while mainstream hobbies are immediately validated?
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
You answered the question with that question.
That's true.
Because if you're nerdy already, you're outside the zone, if you will, and so you're looked at differently. When you're inside the zone, you have a problem with nerds.
The reason that nerds are looked down upon is because they're seen as physically weak and they're introverted, right? And so our society values extroverts and doesn't really think about introverts as much. And what the truth really is that self-introspection is really super important. And again, that's where some of the greatest creative people have come from, is they're introverts, they're not necessarily extroverts.
Nerds are really, that is another word for outcasts.
Yeah,
so
I can agree with that.
They use nerds as the word they're using right now. It can be fat, it can be gay, it can be small, it can be tall, it can be too large, it can be too talky. Whatever it is that makes you an outcast makes you less than, for lack of a better word. Me personally, I've learned the hard way. If you can find a connection with somebody, that in itself is hard. So stop judging, just get connected and enjoy the connection. How about that?
Who is more insecure, the alpha male who has to improve himself to fit societal pressures, or the nerd who embraces his identity regardless of societal pressures?
I think the alpha male.
Okay.
Why?
Because he has to, one little slip and he's off the top of the mountain. He's always got to prove he's better at every angle.
The A alpha type, he has to keep up the illusion, whereas the nerd is just
the nerd don't got to do that
himself.
Yeah,
he can't mess up. He can't let the world see. So he's got all this pressure on him to either be better or stay the same. And in today's world, that's hard to do.
I think right now you kind of see this alpha culture on the rise. So I'm sure right now they're probably going through it more. But with this alpha mentality, a lot of that is hatred. Hatred towards women, hatred towards men who are viewed as lesser than, which does include these nerdy men. So these alpha men definitely ridicule these people who are maybe more confident in the things that they love and enjoy.
Why are we quick to label the nerdy guy insecure and the alpha guy confident when he has to continually maintain his persona due to his insecurity?
Yeah, I think it's actually backwards. I think these nerdy men are much more confident in themselves, where these alpha men are constantly trying to prove to other men, not even women, it's mostly men, that they're better than them. So it's definitely kind of in their own head that these men
Shorty got a
feel
point.
they need to go above and beyond to be
She
these
got a
so-called
point.
alpha males. When, you see, we're walking around now with all these amazing people, and these men are very confident in themselves, whether they're wearing makeup or costumes. I don't think you would ever see an alpha male in that situation.
I feel like as long as you're secure within yourself and what you like and know who you are, then it shouldn't matter if anybody else deems you insecure.
At what point is self-improvement based on insecurity?
When you're doing it for others.
If you are only trying to self-improve to try to be validated by an external force, then that's an insecurity. If you're trying to self-improve so that you know it could help your quality of life, your health, your joy day to day, then that's probably coming from more of a place of trying to just be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
Let me tell you why we have Spectrum.
I gotta agree with
on a
that.
video chat. Melissa's live streaming with her audience. The kids are on their phone streaming while gaming.
So far, a lot of these perspectives are on point.
Why do men care if other men are masculine or not? Do women care if other women are feminine or not?
No, and I don't know why men do. I don't give a fuck what they are.
It's a toxic masculinity thing. I feel like women don't necessarily care if other women are feminine or not, but men have put this expectation on themselves and others to be masculine, and that's why they judge each other for it.
Who's the more effective soldier? The traditionally masculine alpha guy or a skinny computer nerd who flies drones really well?
The skinny nerd who flies drones really well because he's supplying air support for the A alpha soldier.
Oh, the alpha.
How so?
Because he's the guy that goes in there and gets it done. He's the guy that does all the groundwork and the footwork and stuff.
But can't the skinny computer nerd just take them all out with a drone strike?
He could, but it wouldn't be as action-packed. It wouldn't be as suspenseful.
Stop the cap. There'd be lots of explosions.
Well, yeah, there'd be lots of explosions.
Why are women in horror movies often seen as damsels in distress, waiting for male protection, while men rarely face the same expectation of vulnerability?
Because men are writing them and men are producing them and men are directing them.
I think that's in our nature, honestly. I really think it's in our nature that the woman is supposed to be that subservient, like, save me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm old school. I dig that. So.
Hey, there you go. It works.
It's a stereotypical thing for females to be the weaker sex in the franchises. I think Hollywood might not be ready for a strong female presence, so they always want to make them look like they're kind of helpless.
That's not always
that's
true.
Probably societal. If you're trying to market a movie, I think most men always want to be the heroes. It's like a masculinity thing where, women always need this man to protect them. Women can't defend themselves. So that's pretty societal. I think that's just the way society has treated women just in general.
And the men, on the other hand, they're seen more as the rugged, tough type that comes and saves the damsel in distress.
Haven't we been seeing a rise in strong female characters in movies? A lot of the remakes have put a lot of strong female leads. I mean, hasn't that kind of been a thing for like the past 10 years?
Well, yeah, actually there is.
Yeah,
If
but
you
no one
think
supports
about
it.
Scream franchise and going back to Alien, there's been a lot of strong female characters that could make it through a horror movie.
I think that's changing, actually, because I've seen some movies where the men have been more vulnerable and the women are more of the heroines. But again, that is an old society faux pas where women are considered to be weak, where if you look at Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, she was nowhere near as weak as her male composites.
Why are men who display fear in horror movies often ridiculed, while women are allowed to be visibly terrified without judgment?
You know, I think that's a good question. I think it's due to machoism.
Toxic masculinity, for sure. Men are seen as weak in moments of distress when it's perfectly normal. Nobody always has the right answer.
See, I find it kind of interesting when people have these types of conversations about men being vulnerable and all this other type of stuff, right? And they try to act like it's socially acceptable. Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. But 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100, let's go with that. 99 times out of 100, if they're with a guy that shows any signs of weakness, they're going to run the other way. No doubt, they're going to run away. Now, if you ask these women about their exes, they expected their exes to be strong, smart, logical, deductor, problem solver, all those things. That doesn't leave any room for a man to be visibly shaken up or show any signs of weakness or vulnerability. They can say this stuff and it sounds good on paper, but when it comes time to apply it to actual reality and dating and mating, they're turned off by it. So when I hear stuff like this, I automatically don't believe it because I know that the opposite is the truth.
Every time. Of course, I would love to see more men in films being nervous or distressed. Women, I think, are, again, always seen as like the weaker side, so it's normal for them to be scared.
Why are male horror villains sometimes romanticized as tragic, seductive figures, while female villains are often portrayed as purely evil?
So I think that stems from girls have this like I like the bad guy kind of thing.
Yes,
like
sir.
It's a little bit of a kinky, like, oh, I like the bad guy. But evil girls are just nasty. You know what I mean? Like Ursula. I mean, come on. No, I love her, but
there you go.
I think it's a chick's bad guy.
Why do women complain about toxic masculinity when they enable that behavior by choosing to date bad boys?
I don't know why women complain about it, because I like nice guys that look mean, but aren't actually mean. So I like men who are more comfortable in their sensitivity and stuff like that. So I don't have an answer on that one.
I think these
Here we
days
go
we're
with the
trying
lies.
not to care, which I think is a good thing. We're trying to be more open about, what does masculine mean and what does feminine mean, and doesn't everyone have a little bit of both? So I'm kind of all for that.
Well, I mean, isn't there kind of like a biological attraction that women have, regardless of culture, to masculine traits?
Oh yes, yeah. I would agree with that, but I think now there's a lot of different.
Just prove my
I think
point.
What we're seeing is an invitation for people to be more of who they truly are, or maybe we're afraid to show all the parts of themselves. So we have to embrace that, even if I'm still attracted to a caveman for some reason. I think it's important to embrace and get to know people for who they really are.
All right. Okay, man. Shout out to It's Complicated for coming through with another fire video called Alpha Nerds. Now, my first impression of seeing this one was kind of interesting. I didn't really have too much additional commentary because this one was a little more insightful because I'm getting to see kind of like the entertainment industry aspect of how they view relationships and the dynamics between men and women. I definitely like this one because, like I said, it gives you a glimpse into how some of these Hollywood actors and actresses think and how some of these people that go to these conventions think. Now, they may have slightly different perspectives in terms of how men operate and how women operate. But then when you peel the layers back like he does in the video and ask the right questions, it all comes back to the same root. You want the guy to be strong and dominant, and the woman is supposed to be the one that gets saved. That's pretty much the premise all around. It doesn't matter what type of movie it is. It doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. It's always going to highlight something that's a reflection of actual reality. So, yeah, there was a little bit of cap going on, but for the most part, basically what I heard was a lot more of the same that I always hear, is that the guy's supposed to be strong and dominant and be able and be the more capable of the two genders, and the woman is supposed to be the one that's expected to need help. That is supposed to be expected to need help, guidance, reassurance, leadership, safety, love, all those types of things. And the man is supposed to be the one that provides all that. But overall, great video, nice, diverse group of people that come from different backgrounds, different walks of life. Seeing some notable actors and actresses on here too. So overall, it's a great video. And with that being said, I got to get one more shout out to It's Complicated. And that is pretty much my reaction, man. So if you like the video, go ahead and give this video a like. Share with a couple of your friends. Make sure you follow me on all my social media sites. And if you got something specific, go ahead and drop it in that comment section, man. It's your boy AnonymousBased. Peace.